I'm Jeff Philbin, and this is Dinner DeeAs. Care to join me for coffee? No mug required, as we're using it to season a steak. Today, why you should try this crazy caffeinated coloring combination and how to do it. Raconteur, bon vivant, connoisseur. What do those words have in common other than being really hard to say? They actually all describe my guest today in the Dinner DeeAs kitchen, Wilton Morley.
How nice to meet you. Thank you for having me. You've rather oversold me, but anyway, I'll do my best.
Well, I'm going to have a lot of fun because I am so excited to have you here because Wilton Morley is best known in Tampa for founding legendary pub Mad Dogs and Englishmen, but it's one chapter of an illustrious career that took him from being raised in England as the son of world-famous Oscar-nominated actor Robert Morley to Australia for a life as a theater producer, then Italy, and then finally coming here to Tampa in 1991 to start and open up Mad Dogs, which recently just reopened in a brand new home that is now 3 times the size of the original on MacDill Avenue. I mean, how cool is that?
No, that was fabulous, and that's due to our new partners, Oxford Commons. It is absolutely beyond our wildest dreams.
So it hits the standard that you were hoping for, to someone to preserve that legacy, but also to be able to blaze its own path too, right?
Well, it's an authentic English pub. The first one we had, which was further down MacDill, was really kind of a bar. People decided it was a pub, but when I opened that one in 1991, I thought I'll do it like it's kind of a bar in Spain that some expatriate shady English,
Sure.
There's a tradition in Spain of slightly shady gangsters going out to the Costa del Sol, the Costa del Crime as they call it, and opening little bars. And I thought, well, I'll do something like that. And then this, because it didn't look like an English pub. Obviously, it was more like a Florida, little Florida building.
Yes.
And then people said, oh no, this is a pub. And then we said, okay, if it's a pub, it's a pub. And then we did that for years, and now we've started on this one.
And now you started on this one.
Great.
Because running the restaurant isn't Wilton's only league with the world of food. In his later life, his father hosted a food TV show cooking alongside celebrity guests. He had Vincent Price on the show. He had Eartha Kitt, Phyllis Diller. And though it was really tempting to recreate Miss Eartha Kitt's rabbit recipe, instead we're going to be making a dish which used to be on the Mad Dogs menu, which is an espresso-rubbed steak. And I read, because I went down and tried to do as much research as I could because I love having guests on, and you have just so many different stories. I read in an article, this was your favorite dish that you had on the menu.
It was, at the old Mad Dogs. I don't cook, so I hope you're going to cook. And I have a theory about that, which is that if you have a restaurant, it's not very good if you're a foodie, because then you're always going into the kitchen saying, the chef, and you say, what are you making now? And they say, oh, no, have you put any cilantro? And it drives them mad. You never keep chefs. If you're opening a restaurant, it's no good being a foodie. Keep out of the kitchen and find a good chef.
Find that good chef, and then pour yourself.
Let them get on with it.
And again, you could just sit at the bar, you could pour yourself a harp and the lemonade and make a shandy, because that was also your favorite drink too.
Shandy's very good.
I love shandies.
It's very nice. Because of the other, there are 3 reasons people open restaurants.
Okay.
One is they're foodies, which is a disaster, because then they're going to bother the chef.
Okay.
Second one is they like the wine too much, and then they're always ordering expensive wine, and then they become alcoholics. Third one is, which is the usual reason middle-aged men open bars, is to meet girls. And that's a disaster because they're always chatting up the girls who are always nice to them because it's the owner of the restaurant, but they'll never come back. So the reason really to open a restaurant is because, like me, you're absolutely broke at the time. And you really don't know how to do anything else. And then you have to kind of make it work.
And you made it work for all those years?
I did make it work, yeah.
I love that. I love it. And what we're going to do is going to make this all work and make a really great dish together. I've got New York strips over here. I love a New York strip. I love the fat content. I love the marbleization. I love that steakiness. That's my favorite cut.
Marvelous.
Now, we're going to make a really great rub together. And this is really where you're going to be able to just elevate any great steak to the next level. Now, I've got some ground espresso as our base. Now this right here is going to bring a nice bit of depth. There's a warmth behind it and almost like a chocolate flavor that I think is really, really special to have this complexity as that base. Everything else is going to accentuate all these beautiful flavors that just come together in just wonderful harmony. You want to help me?
Not really.
All right.
You go ahead, and I'll watch. I'll be making this tomorrow night. I'm
Deal.
sure.
Exactly. We're going to take it step by step.
Just like all I got to do is watch. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. I'm just gonna. I'll just talk.
We've got the base of the our espresso over here. We're going to add just a little bit of some chili powder inside there. We've got some paprika. And this is a smoked paprika. I want to use a smoked paprika versus a sweet paprika because I want to have all the complexities of those flavors. A touch of cayenne pepper. A little bit can go a long way when it comes to cayenne, and I don't want to make it spicy. I want the true flavors to come from the espresso and from that chili. That cayenne just gives a little hint of some heat, but not overpowering. We're going to add just a little bit of some cumin into this, give it a little bit of some warmth. A little earthiness is going to come in with the oregano over here. We've got a really great ingredient here, which is just some brown sugar. It's going to sweeten it, but not make it too much of a dessert here. But what it's going to happen is that once it hits that pan, it's going to make a nice caramelization, that crust here. A little garlic powder. Now, we've got a little bit of some salt and a little bit of pepper. Now, this was your favorite item that you had on the original menu over here at the restaurant, but this is not the an iteration. This is more of kind of an homage, so to say. For those that have never had an espresso-rubbed steak, what makes it so special?
Well, good question. It's the flavor, of course, and I love coffee. I'm a big coffee man. I drink much too much coffee. No, I never really got tea. Well, I left England when I was 19 or something.
Okay.
So I never really, and then I lived in Australia. I never really took to tea. But English people do drink enormous amounts of tea. But yes, no, I like coffee. And you're putting a bit of orange in there, Jeff.
And it's not a weird combination with steak, though.
No, I think it's wonderful. No, I think it adds something to the steak. And you're right, because, this is one of the things Americans do well, steak, isn't it? Australians and Americans do steak better, really much better than English people do.
And, a Floridian used to be able to do an orange really good. And I'm just putting a little bit of some orange zest inside this. This really, with all of the deep flavors from the espresso, with that little hint of orange, this is really what sets it apart. If you want to bring coffee and steak together in your kitchen, grab the recipe for my chili espresso rub steak at our website, dinnerdeas.com. Follow along on your phone right now by opening the camera app as if you're about to take a photo, not a video, and pointing it at the TV. When it sees that black and white box we put up in the bottom left of the screen, a link to us should appear right on your phone. All right, really simple here. We're just going to take a nice oil here. Now, I'm using grapeseed oil. The reason why I want to use a grapeseed oil is because of that smoke point. I'm going to be able to get a sear on our steak, but I'm also going to finish it in the oven. But because I've got so much flavors, and of course that brown sugar that's inside here, I don't want it to burn, and so I want to make sure that if I'm doing this inside the house, we get that.
Very impressive. These are very, very big steaks.
These are really good.
My
so these
word.
are about 1.5 inches cut, and these are really nice. Well, I mean, we were having a really cool guest. I figured, let's do it nice. And this was one of your favorites.
Why not? Fantastic.
I'm going to hit it with both sides of our rub here. So, not a cook, not a griller, not a barbecue.
I've never learned to cook. It's terrible, isn't it? 74 this year. I never learned to cook. But I love food, and my father loved food. And as you say, because my father was a compulsive gambler. Okay. So any money that he ever had went into the racetrack. So he was always short of money.
Wow.
And then he got offered, he'd go anywhere and do anything. So, he'd go and do a cooking show in New York.
And he was just doing his thing.
And he was very, he didn't take, he took the stage very seriously. He didn't take films very seriously. He was the only actor that I've ever heard of when he got a film script, and he made about 100 films. The smaller the part, the happier he was, because he got the same amount of money. You said, well, my agent gets me the same amount of money. And, you know, he liked the locations, but he didn't, you know, then having the least amount to do.
So the
he
epitome
didn't
of that
take
statement,
film
less is
acting
more,
seriously.
really worked out well for him.
Yeah, less and more, yeah. I mean, he made some very good, I mean, he made 2 films with Bogart and he made 3 films with John Huston. I mean, he did make some very good films. And occasionally he got a very good part, which he did take seriously, because he did a film called Who's Killing the Great Chefs of Europe?
Yeah.
Which he was like one of the main characters with George Segal. And when he thought a film was good, then he got excited about it. But most of the time he took the money and ran. But
Super
But he
cool.
was a great character.
Very cool, very cool. What we did here is I just took the fat side and I put that down for about a minute. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just start rotating around. I'm going to get 2 minutes on each side.
Really,
here.
that's all?
It is, because we're going to finish it inside the oven. I want to get a nice little sear to lock in the flavors. The cook is going to come in. I don't want to overcook our rub and burn it. I want to just be able to accentuate and make a beautiful crust, finish it in the oven. So we're going to do a couple minutes on each side and pop it into the oven. Our steak's got searing to do, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a cucumber salad with a difference as we cook up the cubes. Ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs, where I'm taking over the cooking today, making a steak for a very special guest who's here to do the talking. Wilton Morley is founder of Tampa English Pub, Mad Dogs and Englishmen, and like any good restaurateur, he doesn't worry himself with what happens inside the kitchen. Before the break, I made the espresso-rubbed for our steak, combining chili powder, garlic powder, cumin, cayenne pepper, Spanish paprika, dark brown sugar, salt, pepper, dried oregano, ground espresso, and orange zest, rubbing the steaks with an oil. Gotta make sure that it's a high smoke proof oil here. And then adding the rub, then getting them into the cast iron skillet to sear before we get them into the oven. And as you can see, I have just been searing them a couple minutes on the sides, and then about a minute on that fat.
I've taken everything in, Jeff. I'll be making this myself probably tomorrow night.
I can't wait for you to try.
But I can't. But I'm intrigued by the fact you're going to actually cook the cucumbers.
Oh, we're totally. I'm going to pop this into the oven.
I've never seen anybody cook. I've had a sheltered life, even though I'm at a restaurant. I've never seen anybody actually cook a cucumber.
Now, these aren't English cucumbers, but these are going to be absolutely delicious, and we can have a lot of fun. So what I want to do here is I want to get a nice surface area for my cucumbers. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them right down the middle the long way, let the knife do the work, drag it across, and then, like I've done on the others, I've scored them, which means all I've done is I've just made nice little incisions along the angle here, nice little bias.
You're kind of stabbing them, really.
That's it. But it's got a
Stabbed
purpose.
cucumber.
It's got a purpose, though, because with this, I'm going to have beautiful patterns. One, so that presentation. But really the function of it is I can get a little bit deeper with a little salt and a little pepper. Very simple. Now, you can go even crazier with different ingredients here and different spices that you want to do. But I've got now a beautiful, beautiful pattern of this cross marks here that are going to be absolutely fantastic. We're going to take a little bit of some of our oil here, and we're just going to get a few of them into our pan here. Now, British folks, they love cucumber salads and sandwiches there.
So much of it is presentation, isn't it? And
Really is.
particularly with restaurants, it's presentation and atmosphere. Because I think if you don't know how to cook, which I didn't when I started Mad Dogs, and I didn't really know anything about beers and wines, but I did kind of know about atmosphere, and I think atmosphere is as important as everything else when you go to a restaurant. You've got to have fabulous atmosphere.
How do you make a good atmosphere? Like
Well, I did it, I suppose, by being eccentric, and I mean, I came up with the name Mad Dogs and Englishmen. I don't really know, and there's a famous quote by Kipling, only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. And as I was in Florida and I'd lived in Australia for years, I was sort of slightly going troppo. Do you know that expression, going troppo? It means
Sure.
slightly touched by the sun. And I thought I'll call it Mad Dogs and Englishmen, which will explain, what we're doing. I thought it was a good name for a pub. But no, I made it. I had interesting artwork, and you know, good music and, you know, good atmosphere. And I think that's, you know, sometimes you don't get that in a good restaurant. It's a bit sterile. So I think it's fun to have. And then I suppose ultimately the customers make it, don't they?
They really do.
They make it for you.
Are there some really good spots that you like to go to?
You know, I don't get out much. I mean, it's funny, I do a newsletter for Mad Dogs every month, and my newsletter this month talks about the fact that if you have a restaurant, you kind of feel, it's like having a mistress. You feel like if you're not at home, you've got to be there, haven't you?
You got to be
People
there.
expect to see you lounging at the bar without seemingly a care in the world, of course. And so I go to my own restaurant. You know, I go to Mad Dogs, and then there's not a lot of time to go
somewhere else.
I like Osteria Natalino very much. That
Okay.
Italian restaurant's very good.
Great spot down there.
I'm not going to plug everybody else's restaurant, but
Yeah.
I like going there.
But how often are you over at Mad Dogs?
Oh, I'm in there like 3 or 4 times a week.
Now,
you know.
you also host, you know, groups coming in that just want to hear your stories too.
I started doing that 2 days ago. The first one I did, they said, would you do kind of, because we've got so much art on the walls, because I had a lot of art at the old one.
Okay.
And then we found a very clever man in the Cotswolds, and I said, I don't want this just to be about the 1960s,
Yeah.
which was kind of my era when I lived in London. I want it to be about the whole of the 20th century. So he found very good, kind of subtle bits of art. I mean, the one thing I didn't want Mad Dogs to be was like some sort of terrible idea of an English pub like you have in a mall,
Sure.
where the girls are in kilts and
Yeah.
there's thousands of pictures of Princess Diana. I didn't want all that.
Yeah, there's
Didn't
no
want all that.
authenticity behind
I
that.
want it to be kind of subtle, and so we have a lot of art in there that's kind of, it's all about the 20th century in England, but it's not. It's quite kind of subtle stuff.
So cool. So cool. And so much more when we come back, because we're taking another break. When we come back, the steaks are going to come out of the oven. They're going to take a rest. And our cukes here, they're also going to do the same thing. Finish up our salad ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs, where we're making a steak, but maybe not as you know it. A chili Espresso-Rubbed steak, a coffee combo which might sound odd but tastes great. And my guest today, Wilton Morley of Mad Dogs, an Englishman, the iconic British pub, is with us. And you were mystified by seeing all this kind of come together.
I'm impressed. You know, I've been less than useless. You've done all the work. I've just been in awe.
In awe?
Trying to learn how to cook at, you know,
Well,
at an
And it's
advanced
never
age.
too late to cook, and it's never
Probably
too late
never
to try this
to-
dish.
that's quite right.
Because before the break, I got the seared steaks into the oven to finish them up while I sliced some cucumbers for a salad. But I cooked the cucumbers, and they were not raw, searing them during the break. And this was really where everything was kind of at. I mean, look at the difference between the uncooked, just a little bit of oil, salt and pepper,
I know. And,
the cooked.
and you've decorated them almost like a painter. They've got a sort of pattern on them.
They look absolutely fantastic, and it's going to penetrate all those beautiful flavors that now come together for our salad. So that was the base of what is inside our salad bowl here, which we also have with some sliced red onions, some toasted pepita seeds, which are just pumpkin seeds, salt, pepper, avocado. Really, really simple, really, really clean, and a great dish that you could do in bulk anytime that you want to have a big party. This is a really, really great dish to do. Inside the mason jar, this was where we made our dressing. This is very simple, very easy. Olive oil, agave, mint, salt, pepper, lime zest, and the juice. And it's just shaken. You don't have to do anything more. The mixture here is going to emulsify and bring all these beautiful flavors together. I mean, you like eating healthy too?
This is so impressive. I mean, I can't begin to. I don't know how you manage this. No, he's been at it. He's done all this in the last 10, 15, 20 minutes. Very impressive, and I'm sure amazing.
My friends, to grab my recipe for this charred cucumber salad, the vinaigrette, and how to do the seared steak, go to dinnerdeas.com or follow along right on your phone by scanning the QR code down there to find us.
Impressed.
You like it?
Oh, thrilled.
I can't wait to
Absolutely
put this.
thrilled. I can't wait to try this.
I can't wait either because there's just one last break to take.
Made sure not to eat anything before I came here because you were doing steak, and I'm now ravenous.
Oh, even
Chef.
better
So
then.
I should look.
I absolutely love it. It's going to be a ravenous affair of just the two of us sitting over at the Dinner DeeAs table.
Very
And we
nice.
get to sample our steaks ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs, where a special steak is on the menu for a special guest. I've been doing the cooking for Wilton Morley, founder of Tampa pub Mad Dogs and Englishmen, and he's also a theater producer, author, son of Oscar-nominated actor Robert Morley. But he's not a cook, but has watched me very intently and at a very safe distance to put together today's.
Well, I didn't want to be asked to do anything, but this looks amazing.
Oh, I'm
I
so
can't
delighted.
believe it. It's so fabulous.
I'm so delighted to hear that.
Thank you.
Now,
Should we
this,
start?
again, it was-
Should we get going?
I think so. I think so.
Oh my God, I can't wait to try this. Fabulous. We did used to have it on the menu at the Old Mad Dogs, but I'm not sure it was as good as this one. Oh, melts in your mouth, doesn't it? It's wonderful.
There's complexities behind all of that. You're going in for that
Oh.
cucumber salad.
That's really incredible. I'm sure they all say that when they're sitting here, but I mean it.
Well,
It really.
thank you.
They
Thank
have to. But I mean, it is absolutely. I mean, absolutely fabulous steak.
Well, thanks to the wonderful Wilton Morley, you'll find him not in the kitchen, but popping up at the bar at Mad Dogs and Englishmen in its new location on McGill Avenue in Tampa. Details are on our website, where you can also find the recipe for everything that I've made for this young man. I'm Jeff Philbin. Thanks for watching, and see you next time with more ideas for dinner, as we call them, Dinner DeeAs.